This is Susanna Magenheimer, Random Artist 222, and today I'm doing a quick process video on how to make a quick garland wreath. Super easy to do. You might not have thought when you see these in the stores, but I'm going to show you. And I'm going to bring you in for a close-up on my wreath up front, and you can see this beautiful cardinal. It's so realistic, and it comes from Eyelet Outlet. They do a lot of realistic type brads, as well as a bunch of different beads that you can see here. Some are fancy, like this little guy here. Some are just clear baubles, but you get the point, they're beads. The bow I custom colored, and then I added these little dangles to the end of my wreath to just give the wreath a little bit of a unique, fresh, let me see if I can put it down here, a unique, fresh look. Okay? And also, I'm going to show you how to do these so you don't feel intimidated, because it's jewelry and it's dangles and it's, to me, it was always some kind of mysterious, art form, and it is. It's not the easiest thing to do when you go full bore on it, but to do something like this, very easy, and I hope I can inspire you. Now, some of the things you're going to need to do this are obviously beads, and you can use any kind of beads, okay? You might want to have your wreath be all these little white, creamy, snowflakey kind of colors. Wintry colors. You might want it to be red. Maybe you want to do a Valentine's wreath. Why not, right? Or crystals, or whatever suits your purpose. But they don't have to be fancy. They don't have to be expensive, and they could all be seed beads. Just have a variety so that you can, that your wreath can express. The other thing you're going to need is, if you look here, there's this beautiful ribbon or garland, or ribbon garland that I got, and this is what you wrap around the wreath to just add some more embellishment to it. This is one I picked up recently that I found was just gorgeous. Look at that. It's like frosted crystals, and if you look at it against the garland, how well that's going to wrap around. Okay, but choose the one you want to work with and go from there. Also, like I mentioned, you want to use, I use Eyelet Outlet brads because they're just so realistic. And I love this one here. I just picked this one up because if you look really close, that's a little cup of coffee. How cute is that? And it says joy. And they're assorted. So if you have a coffee friend or a tea friend, this is a perfect brad to embed into the wreath for that person. Other things you might want to pick up very inexpensively are these berries. They come in many, many colors. I picked up golden red. You want to have maybe some flat back beads. Let me just open it up so you can see a few. So if you can see here, they're flat back. So they lay flat, as the name states, and then they're like all these little pearls. And again, let me bring my wreath back in here. You could take this. So see, you can just glue on the little beads like that. So flat back beads are definitely one of my must-haves, but to be honest, I only carry them in white and cream because I can custom color them. If you have alcohol ink markers, they can custom color your beads, your white beads. So I try to do everything I can to custom color. So like this ribbon here that you see here, I have it in white. I bought a pack in white, and I just color it up to what I want and just use a spray. I have a bunch of sprays. And something else that you might want to add to your wreath are these really teeny tiny cute candy canes if you really want to go into a Christmassy mode. And these don't have to be necessarily wreaths for Christmas. I mean, you could make a fall wreath. These could just be ornamentals that you hang around your house, just based on the season. So your must-haves for this is Aleene's Turbo Tacky glue. It dries clear. When you first put it on, you might go, it's solid white. And but it eventually will dry completely clear. I went through this wreath just to make sure, and look how strong it is. I mean, I'm really tugging at these guys, and they're not coming off. It takes a little pressure, and once a few minutes go by, you add a little bit more pressure to it, and once it's in its place, and you let it dry, it's done. and it dries very quickly. So that's my go-to glue for working on these kind of surfaces. You're gonna need wire clips if you're gonna attempt the dangles. And you're gonna need these round, they're called round needle nose, because they're round. So you're definitely gonna need garland, and I found mine on Amazon. And let me get the shadow away, and there's the information on it. It's just called green garland, and it's from Wreath, and it's on Amazon. And you get it like this, and this one comes 25 feet. So you basically gonna unhook it. Like so. Let me get this thing out of the way. Okay, and your wreath is going to depend, the size of your wreath is going to depend on what you want. So if you want, let me just get some more of this off. Okay, so if you want a wreath that is that wide, okay, then first thing you do, you saw me do that, right, is you're going to bring the wreath wire, it's all wire, so bring it under, bring it over, and then tuck it in, okay? Now, what I do is I go 1, and there's 1 full circle, and then 2, I think it gets me 3 bands going around. So that's where I cut. I always, whatever size wreath I make, I go 3 times around, and that's going to be my wreath. Okay, so this is the simplicity of making the wreath. I'm going to unwind that now. Okay, I'm just making sure. Okay, so I'm going to bring this through. And I'm just going to start over and under. Over and under. So when we come back, I'm going to have that all wreathed out. Okay, so I basically just kept taking the wire in, up, and around. Now here's my last piece of wire. I'm just going to take that, bring it around, and flip it, and then just crimp it like that, and there you go. If you find that your wreath is still not as fluffy as you want, you can take and measure 1 circle, a little bit more, 1.5 of the circle, and wind up another one. This is where I might add my garland, and it's the same process, right? You're going to just bring it around. Okay, and then this is where I would just put a little dab of glue on the back, and that would be my hanging point. Okay, and you can make these as wide as you want, so I kind of doubled up on that, but again, you get the point. So I'm going to show you how I take just a bead as a sample here. I'm using my Elaine's Turbo Tacky glue and Aleene's. And FYI, inside of these, this opens up like this, just so you know, because this has happened to me way too much in my lifetime. But if you unscrew it here, okay, and I don't want to take it all the way because I have glue in there now, but inside there's a little seal, and you got to take it off. And it looks something like this. Okay, that comes off, and then the glue will start coming out. So you're going to just go ahead and find a place where you want to put it. Don't worry about the brambles, you can cut some back. And this stuff is very tacky, so it doesn't come out smooth, but it does dry clear. And that's the point. You want something that's tough and will dry clear. So that might be a little bit more for what my bead is, but I don't care, because it's going to dry clear. So then I just press that in. And if it's a round bead and you notice it falling, just for a few seconds, keep just manipulating it back and it will stay. So there you go. That'll dry in a minute or so and you can move on. Okay. So then you would proceed to put all your beads together. Now, the last part of this is these dangles. And I thought it just looked really yummy having them at, you know, at the base of the wreath. Okay. And again, choose any beads you want. I try to keep them a little similar at the bottom. But to make this less intimidating, I'm going to show you. On Etsy, I buy these. They're called head pins. You can see here. This is a more ornamental head pin because they beveled it out. But a lot of them look like the end of pins, you know, the flat heads. So that I learned the beads don't fall off, right? You don't want the beads to fall off. So you're going to just string all the beads you want in your dangle. And then you're going to come over. And I'm not a professional. I'm not, you know, saying I know everything about jewelry. I don't. But this is not too hard to do. So you're going to basically take your wire and you're going to bend it into an L. So you're like that, right? Can you see that? Let me get close. Yeah. Okay. And then you're going to take your needle nose and pick the, you know, kind of pick the width of the hole you want. And you're just going to roll it back. Okay. So I have the start of my curve right there. And I don't need all that, right? So I guesstimate. Some people measure, I guesstimate just about where it's at. And be careful because that will flick. So there's you don't want to make sure you dispose of those properly. Okay, and then I'm just going to come back. Okay, I didn't cut enough, so I'm going to cut just a little bit more. Okay, and I'm just going to roll it onto itself. And can you see here? Let me put a white piece of white paper underneath. You see that? I almost have the connection made, but it's still not 100% made. So I'm just going to go down my needle nose just a little bit to the thinner side. I'm just going to roll it till it touches it. There. See? Now it's completely closed. And now I can take a jump ring and attach a jump ring to this and it'll dangle. And you guys know that jump rings are these things, right? The little circles that open up and you just attach things to them. One thing to be really cognizant of is when you're buying these head pins is to buy the thicker gauge stuff, because if you buy a really thin wire and you do this twirl, right? When you put it on the jump ring and someone's pulling it on there, you know, they have it as a necklace or, you know, are too harsh with the wreath and they just pull. If this wire is very thin gauged, it will just pop off. So you want to make sure that it's a nice gauged, thick head bead. And you can always straighten it up if you find that it's a little bit off, but I just wanted to show you the basics of that because I felt it was really important to know that it's not that scary, and it's really fun once you start doing it. And you get these beautiful, you can get beautiful results, because that I could hang on a necklace right now if I wanted to. So anyway, so that's how I got these dangles, and that's how I made my wreath. And I hope that was enough of a technique video that you got the point and how to make one for yourself, for your friends. There's still time this holiday season. And I hope this inspires you And if it did, please remember to subscribe and like. It honestly makes a difference in how YouTube sees me in the searches. It bumps me up a little bit with the big kids or the big fish. And I really enjoy doing these. So have a great day and happy holidays.